Hey adventurers, today we're going to be doing our January 2022 book, not book haul.
Reading wrap-up.
Reading wrap-up.
These are the books that we read in January 2022. So, go ahead, you've got more than I do.
I'm going to start, and not in order of what I read, but starting apparently with The Beast, I read Dune by Frank Herbert. You can be very proud of me for getting through a thick book. Am I sharing thoughts on this?
Go ahead. Well, we are going to do a discussion. I forgot about that. We do need to do a discussion on it
Dune?
sometime. Yeah.
Well, maybe I won't say too much, except it kind of just made me sit back and go, huh. Like, it wasn't exactly a wow. And this is very vague and so meaningful, I know, but we're going to do a discussion on it, so hopefully you can hear more in detail my thoughts at a later point.
Okay, what's the first book on my list? Okay, the first book that I finished this January, last month, was To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Leigh. I have a review for this. I'll link it up in the corner, so I won't go too much into my thoughts, but overall I did really enjoy it. I both wish I had read it earlier in life, and I'm glad that I didn't. And we'll leave it at that.
Okay. I also read The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon by Stephen King. This was one of the Stephen Kings that was in my bookshelf, and I picked it up one day because I wanted a book, and I read it just about in one day. I think it took me 2 days because it was over the weekend. But I really liked it. I like this one I saw was recommended for a younger audience in general, just because the content is a little bit cleaner, but it still has that same suspense that Stephen King is known for. And I really appreciated that because I like the nice content. So I enjoyed it.
The next one I finished is The Wingfeather Tales, which I also have a review up for. I'll link it up there, and it went up the Monday before this video is going up. So I won't talk about it too much, but it's a series of 7 short stories, of which I only read 6 because one of them was a graphic novel. And
You didn't read the graphic novel?
Well, I listened to it on audiobook, so I didn't have the graphic novel to read. Overall, I really enjoyed it, and it seemed to me like each story got better and better as they went, so the last one was the best of them all, I guess we'll put it that way.
So on that note, I read On the Edge of the Dark Sea of Darkness by Andrew Peterson, and I thought it was a really, really enjoyable book. I had a lot of fun with it. The illustrations are so fun. I read part of it and then I switched to audiobook for the other half, and so I would actually go through and kind of follow along in the book and make sure I was paying attention, and also so I could look at the illustrations. But it was a really sweet story, and I wish I would have read it when I was younger because I think I would have liked it a lot. Despite I didn't love high fantasy as a kid, but I think I would have enjoyed these.
Yeah. Then I read Howl's Moving Castle, which I do not yet have a review for.
Did you like it?
Honestly, because I forgot that I had read it, and so I didn't write a review for it. But I will have a review for this sometime. Who knows at this point when it'll be. I mean, it could be a month out at this point. But overall, I really enjoyed it. There was a lot of unexpected things. Just things with the way the magic system worked, things with the world that I was not expecting. I went into it knowing absolutely nothing about it other than that it was like supposed to be like a really heartwarming book and everything. And overall, I really enjoyed it. Not my favorite book I've ever read, but I'm very glad to have read it.
We're gonna get this one over with. So I read Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, and I had a lot of mixed feelings about this. And now it's been so long that I read it that I should have talked about it a lot earlier. I remember being conflicted a little bit because I liked parts of it, but I really disliked some aspects of it as well. Overall, I kept reading the book, I kept picking it up, and I wanted to pick it up, so it drew me in that sense. But there were some things about it that I don't like. So, the thing about this book is I thought that the story had a lot of weak areas, especially in plot, but also in character, and the way that the different elements of story tied together I thought was weak. But overall, I loved the story. And that's where the conflict comes up, because I'm like, this wasn't the strongest story. It's heavily YA, as in the YA tropes and things YA is known for in the not great sense. But I still really liked the book. So the author pulled something incredible out of something. I don't really know what to think. I haven't decided if I'm going to continue with the series, but this year I've actually started a lot of series recently and not read the second book, so we'll see what I actually decide to continue with.
And then the next book that I listened to, I think, was In the Labyrinth of Drakes by Marie Brennan. This is book 4 of the, what's it called? The Lady Trent Memoirs. There's a lot about it that I really loved. I don't have a review for it yet. I will also have a review for this one coming sometime. But it was each one of these books, there's some aspects of them that I don't completely love, and most of them that keeps them from being like a 5 out of 5, but this one was as close to a 5 out of a 5 as we've gotten so far, and it was so good, and I'm very excited for the last book in the series, but I haven't gotten to it yet. Anyways, because I'm going to do a review, I probably shouldn't talk too much about it here, but I did really enjoy it. There was a lot of just cool things that they did, and references, like there's a very blatant reference to smog in it, and is like, I was listening to it and it popped up, I was like, whoa, that was cool. Anyway.
Did you also read The Fellowship this month?
I did read Fellowship, but because it is part of the 3 books in one rather than each part individually, I will be talking about that in March.
Fellowship of the Ring, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I don't need to talk about it.
No, I know, but you just, all you said was Fellowship by the Blue, which most people will know,
fine.
but...
Continue.
I read Black by Ted Decker. I actually listened to it on audiobook. I can't remember if I started the hard copy or went back and forth. I know that with a lot of these books recently, I've been switching back and forth between the audiobook and the hard copy because I get to a point with an audiobook where I just zone out and it becomes noise and I need the hard copy. But at the same time, I like to listen while I'm working, so I use an audiobook a lot. This was really interesting. I really enjoyed some things about it. I thought it was really well written overall. The allegory was not subtle, I don't think. But, I mean, I enjoyed it because I like allegory, so it was okay. But, I don't know, subtle allegory that ties super well into a story I think can be very powerful, where an allegory in this sense is going to speak mostly to Christian readers, which is just fine if that's what the author's going for, and it worked for me, so I enjoyed it.
The last book that I read in, what is this month, January, was Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie. I almost said by Hercule Poirot. This is a Hercule Poirot mystery, and I have some mixed feelings about this book. I will have a review for it sometime, but basically what I am, without detracting too much from the review, basically what I'm seeing is, although the stories are good, it might not be for me. The author might not be for me, or at least the Hercule Poirot might not be for me. We'll see.
And then, I have more books than I thought left.
Yeah.
I read Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie. Barrie? Correct us if we're wrong.
See,
I'm sure you will.
It's got an I-E.
Yes, but
Barrie.
What if it's like French?
Then it would not have an I.
They use I's in their alphabet.
It's Barrie. J.M. Barrie.
I read Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie. I really loved it. I thought it was a super fun story. I learned a lot about Neverland that was a little startling. I don't know, will YouTube allow me to say what the content?
Daniel says that kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, the fairies and their orgies was a little bit of a surprise for me, seeing I was infatuated with Neverland fairies growing up until I read this book, and now I'm just highly disturbed. Highly. But I did love this story. I thought it was really great and really fun and endearing, and I kind of want to read it again already. And then we got 2 more. We're going to do the one I DNF'd, which is Martian Chronicles by Ray Bradbury. I love Ray Bradbury's writing style. His other 2 books I've completed, or I should name those books. Something Wicked This Way Comes and Fahrenheit 451 I read both and I liked them both. Something Wicked This Way Comes was actually a book I stopped in the middle of and then I picked it back up and I finished it and I liked it overall. And so I'm kind of thinking maybe I'll do the same with this just because it's an easy thing to read. But the way it's written is in little segments, chronicles of the Martians or of Earth's encounters with the Martians is maybe a better way to put it. And what really frustrates me is you don't see the same characters. So you'll read a chronicle, it may be 1 page, it may be like 5 pages, maybe 10 pages, and just as you start to get invested with the character, that segment ends and you start over again, and it's happening over and over and over again. And I don't see a plot, and there's no characters to draw me in because they keep just ending, and it just gets really frustrating because it's not like a normal story. And maybe if I knew that going into it, I'd have had better experience with it, but overall it's like grating. I'm like, just give me a story. This could be so well done, it could be well written, it has great premise, but it's not working for me at all. I'm gonna keep the book, and I have a bookmark. I have a random scrap of trash in there to mark my place, so if I ever decide to come back and finish it, because I'm close to the end as you can see here, and it's not a difficult read. It was frustrating because it didn't feel like a book. It didn't feel like a story to me. I don't know what it was. What did you do, Ray Bradbury? What is this?
David's gonna come in and talk to you about why you should read it.
If David tells me why I should read it, I will finish it.
Okay.
Okay? Okay. Then I read Cries from the Lost Island by Kathleen O'Neill Gear. This is what genre? Low fantasy, sci-fi, historical-ish.
Good.
Yeah, sure, we're gonna go with that.
All
There's
of the above.
a lot of mythology in it, so maybe let's just go with mythological set in modern present times. Okay? That's not a genre, but we'll make it one for this movie, for this video. I read this and I kind of read it in 2 segments. I was traveling, so I read it on the plane on both ends of my flight, essentially, or both ends of my trip. So I read it in big chunks, which was probably really good. There was things about it I liked, things about it I didn't like. I love Egyptian mythology, so that aspect of it I loved. The pacing was a little bit odd because it was what happened in the story happened over a really short period of time that we saw, but the pacing kind of felt drawn out, and it was a little bit difficult to follow the plot line, and I'm still, I finished the book, and I must have zoned out at some point because I'm kind of lost in what happened. I know what people died and what people didn't, but I am a little bit lost, and I know that the story goal was achieved, but it was weird. I didn't love it, but I liked it. So I'm going to leave it at that, I think. So those are my books for January.
Well, now that she's done rambling,
Yep.
'cause she took forever.
I did.
What happens when you read 8 books. Thank you guys for watching an Internet Adventure. We hope you enjoyed our wrap up for the month of January, and we hope that you guys had a great reading month for January as well. We post videos every Monday and Thursday. We have our social medias linked in the description down below. Please like and comment and subscribe if you haven't already. We will see you guys again soon. Stay warm.